The gas. No, we not, bro. I got some gas right here. 40 and 8. The 8 over there. Oh, right here? That's an 80, bro. Hey, what the fuck you doing, bro? That's 40 and 8. It's on top, bro. You right here. I'm out there, bro. Yeah. We up there, bro. Damn, so what's it gonna be? 80 or 40? That's 80, bro. But I got my own money right here, bro. 40 and 8. Oh, yeah.
Huey Haha was a Vietnamese comedian from Northern California. Born in Stockton, but later relocating to Sacramento, Huey's story is far from the stereotypical Asian upbringing, and he was taken from us way too soon, at the young age of just 22 years old. In my opinion, his career was just taking off, and that's a lot to say about someone that already amassed over 130 million total views on his YouTube alone. But before Huey and Kobe would bless us with some of the funniest skits we have seen in a really long time, they both had their own paths up until this point. And in today's episode, I want to take a dive into Huey's career. But before we do anything, I think it's only right that we talk about his GoFundMe. I understand that they already reached their goal. I don't think that matters. I'll also be donating all profit made from this video to his family. But without further ado, let's get into it.
Hey, bro. Hey, what's your next video, bro?
Huey would begin his journey in the city of Stockton, California. In his earlier days, he would grow up and spend a lot of time in the northern Stockton area. Being the second youngest out of seven siblings. Being the second youngest out of seven siblings. Being the second youngest out of seven siblings. It's safe to say there were a lot of mouths to feed from the jump. He didn't have the best relationship with his mom, and he had an even worse one with her boyfriend, who was physically abusive, and they would get into a lot of altercations. Back when Huey was in 5th grade, his older brother and a couple of his homies jumped their mom's boyfriend, which caused their boyfriend to move out of the house. But this only caused Huey's mother to move out with him, completely abandoning Huey and his brother. Huey would later come home to find out his mother had moved out because she left when he wasn't home. Can you imagine coming home and realizing that your mom bounced out on you? And now it's just you and your brother and you guys have to figure it all out? Man, this is some fucked up shit. And I can't even imagine what kind of impact this would have on me as a kid. Huey and his brother would stay for another 5 months in the house alone. During this time, Huey would couch surf and sleep over his homies' houses often. Now, obviously the question would be, what happened to school? After all, this was all happening when Huey was only in the 5th grade. Fortunately for Huey, he lived down the street. There's another incentive to going to school when you're living on your own, and it's gotta be free food. One of the main reasons our boy Huey kept going to school was for that breakfast, and this really painted a picture for me on what this man's struggle must have been like from an early age. I never cared about school breakfast because I had a mom making it happen for me in the kitchen. Huey would later link up with his mom, but they never really got to talk about all the things that happened, the physical abuse, and I think this affected Huey in a lot of ways. At the age of 13, Huey would be placed in foster care alongside his brother and 2 nephews. They got adopted by a black family who really showed them love, but this housing situation wouldn't last long because Huey got caught smoking weed, which caused him to get kicked out. After this, he would go live with the Filipino family for about a year, which according to Huey, sucked ass because they were hella strict and didn't ever want to take Huey to go see his homies. By the age of 14, Huey got into wrestling at Chavez High School located in Stockton. He would wrestle in the 10th school here for a year before he got expelled for fighting. After getting expelled, Huey would move in with his mother again for a week before getting picked up by his sister to move to the city of Sacramento. Sacramento is where life would change for Huey. He began his career in comedy on Twitter. The very first skit Huey ever did was on the 6ix9ine Shoelace Challenge. I tried looking all over the internet for this, but sadly I couldn't find the original video. The first skit would do extremely well because it went viral overnight, but it didn't really do much for his career. Huey would follow up with another skit but would get no views. He would go viral for a couple of tweets, but the consistency just wasn't there. This caused Huey to take a long break from the comedy shit, and in one of the interviews he mentioned that he wouldn't come back to it until he went to a Rolling Loud festival, and apparently he popped some pill that really gave him urges to really hop on this comedy shit again. But since Huey didn't find much success on Twitter, he moved on to Instagram. And here he would release all types of solo skits. But Huey wouldn't find much success in these solo skits, despite them having hundreds of thousands of views on YouTube at the time of this recording. Back then, it wasn't doing so hot. This is when Huey would start to do these jackass style skits, and it involved him some way or another hurting himself. And one of these skits would eventually get reposted on World Star, and I think it was a skit with him smashing the watermelons with his head. I tried looking all over the internet for this clip, but I couldn't find it. Needless to say, Huey has tried all types of content when it comes to his videos, anywhere from pranks to solo skits, duo skits, and even stand-up comedy. But the skits he would become most well known for wouldn't be until much later when he linked up with Kobe. Huey would link up with Kobe through Instagram. Kobe was another up-and-coming comedian but is also a rapper. They started to release skits together, and these are the ones that really took off and started getting millions of views per skit. And they even got Stupid Young and MB Nell on the skit against Asian hate.
Oh shit! Hey, where y'all came from, bro?
Hey, bro.
I
told you not to fuck with that nigga,
I love
bro.
Asian people, bro. Asian porn, papaya salad, pho. You feel me? I fuck with all that shit. I fuck with
Huey really started pumping out the content at this point. Each skit doing incredibly well. Huey really looked like he was on his way to superstardom. But most of you watching already know what's coming next. According to Yahoo News, TikTok comedian Huey Haha, whose real name was Huey Ha, was found dead by medics during an emergency call to his home. First responders were called to Ha's home in Sacramento, California on Monday afternoon. Medics tried to save the 22-year-old but were unsuccessful. He was pronounced deceased at the scene by responding medical personnel. Officers conducted a death investigation and a coroner responded to take over the investigation. The cause of death is not yet confirmed, but police told The Sun that they were not treating Ha's death as suspicious. A lot of the people on the internet are coming to the conclusion that Huey, because there are a couple of red flags when it comes to his social media accounts. Apparently, he tweeted out "fuck life" just a couple of days before his passing. One of his recent comedy skits, the title of it being "When You're Bipolar," was a little bit alarming to some of his big fans.
It's a beautiful day outside, bro. Shout out to God waking us up. Yeah.
No, it's so sunny outside, bro. We should go outside and play.
Hell no, bro. Sometimes I just want to be inside all the time, you know? Just sleep forever sometimes.
Yeah, it's called dying, you selfish bastard.
Yeah, bro. Let's go die in the room.
No, let's go to Six Flags.
Ooh, I love Six Flags.
But at the end of the day, at the time of this recording, the death has not been confirmed. I'm just gonna leave that to his family to decide whether or not they want to release that information. We hear this time and time again, but tomorrow is definitely not promised. Huey's death really reminded me that you never know what's going to happen. Keep your loved ones close, cherish the days you have with them, because you never know when you won't have that chance again. My heart goes out to Huey's family. Rest in peace to a literal legend. Thank you, Huey, for always providing us with the smiles and laughs. Your legacy will live on forever. But until next time, I'll be seeing you guys later. Peace.
I love when I come home, and then my daughter, she just comes running to the door, and she just screams like, ah! And like, she run around in like a circle, and then she comes back, and then she hugs me. It's like the best feeling, bro. Like, you don't really understand, like,